The crystalline towers of the galactic financial nexus shimmered like a mirage, their faceted surfaces reflecting the cold light of a dozen artificial suns. Inside the central chamber, holographic debt projections flickered in the air like chains woven from starlight. Alien bureaucrats scurried between terminals, their many limbs moving in precise, calculated patterns. Ink-stained tentacles tapped at glowing interfaces, while calculator implants whirred behind bulbous eyes. Lisa Hayes adjusted her jacket as she stepped onto the polished obsidian floor. The human economist stood out among the assembled delegates. No exoskeleton, no bioluminescent markings, just two steady hands clutching a data slate. The whispers started immediately. A Zenthari auditor with credit silk robes slithered closer, his elongated fingers steepled in mock sympathy. "Ah, the debtor species arrives," he hissed, his voice like coins clinking in an empty vault. Lisa didn't flinch. "Let's hear the numbers then." The High Auditor, a towering Zenthari with a crest of iridescent scales, unfurled a scroll of quantum parchment. The figures glowed crimson in the air. "By unanimous decree of the Galactic Fiscal Tribunal, the Terran Collective is hereby found liable for historical resource debts, totaling 472 quadrillion standard credits." A murmur rippled through the chamber. Lisa's grip tightened on the slate. "Break it down for me." The High Auditor's mandibles twitched. "Oxygen consumption, solar energy absorption, gravitational utilization. Your species has been borrowing from the galactic commons for millennia without repayment." Lisa's laugh was sharp, unexpected. The Zenthari flinched. "You're charging us for sunlight? Plus interest," sneered a junior auditor, her tentacles writhing with glee. Lisa scrolled through her slate, then tapped a command. The holograms above her shifted, Earth's financial records spinning into view. Funny, because according to our ledgers, we've been net exporters since first contact metals, rare earths, even cultural data, which, by the way, your media conglomerates have been pirating for decades. The High Auditor's crest darkened. "Preposterous. Section fade of the Galactic Trade Accords." Lisa shot back. "All intellectual property transfers require royalty payments. You owe us for every human film, song, and meme your species ever consumed." The chamber fell silent. A Zephyrian delegate near the back ruffled his feather, crest intrigued. The High Auditor recovered first. "This tribunal does not recognize. Then let's audit your books." Lisa's voice cut through the room like a scalpel. She tapped her slate again. A new hologram bloomed, a tangled web of shell companies, hidden transfers, and off-world tax havens. The junior auditor paled. "How did you?" "Forensic accounting," Lisa said, smiling. "Human invention. We've been tracking your real ledger, every resource siphoned from pre-FTL worlds, every debt fabricated to justify theft." The High Auditor's claws scraped against the podium. "You have no proof." Lisa tilted her head. "Don't we?" A chime echoed through the nexus. Every terminal in the room lit up at once, broadcasting the same file. A Zenthari internal memo marked confidential, detailing the systematic looting of 36 undeveloped systems. The Zephyrian delegate stood, his feathers flaring. "This is an outrage." Lisa kept her eyes on the High Auditor. "You wanted to talk debts. Fine, let's talk yours." The chamber erupted. The High Auditor's crest flushed violent purple as he slammed a fist down. "Guards, seize her." Two Vorak enforcers stomped forward, their bone-plated jaws snapping. Lisa didn't move. Then the walls shook. A deep, resonant hum vibrated through the nexus. The holograms flickered, replaced by a live feed from orbit, the USN Ledger's wrath, its railguns humming with power. A new voice crackled over the chamber speakers. "Captain Ryan Blake, crisp and calm. Try it." The Vorak hesitated. Lisa smiled. Now, she said, shall we discuss repayment terms? The war room aboard the US and Ledger's Wrath hummed with tension. Flickering holograms cast jagged blue light across the faces of Lisa Hayes and her team. Alien financial records scrolled past at dizzying speeds, a river of numbers in scripts no human had been meant to see. Lisa's fingers danced across the holopad, her nails chipped from 12 hours of non-stop work. There, she muttered, stabbing at a line of glowing Zenthari glyphs. Right there, that's the smoking ledger. Beside her, Corporal Diaz squinted at the projection. I don't speak scammer. Break it down for us, boss. Lisa zoomed in. See these transfers? They're marked as resource reallocation fees, but cross-reference with the dates. She pulled up another file. Every single one matches a first contact event with a pre-FTL species. The Zenthari show up, declare them in debt for galactic resource usage, and start stripping their worlds bare. A murmur rippled through the room. Ensign Kurosawa whistled low. So they're not just extorting us. They've been doing this for centuries. Worse, Lisa's voice was ice. They're not even consistent. Look at the interest rates. Some species get charged 10%, others 10,000. It's arbitrary. They're just picking numbers to keep everyone enslaved. The door hissed open. Captain Ryan Blake strode in, his uniform crisp despite the hour status. Lisa didn't look up. We've got them full audit trail. Fraud, embezzlement, interstellar racketeering. The Zenthari economy runs on theft. Ryan's grin was sharp. How long to package it for broadcast? Before Lisa could answer, the ship's alarms blared. Red lights strobed as the comms officer barked. Incoming vessels, Vorak signatures, multiple gunships on intercept. Diaz cursed. They found us. Lisa's hands flew across the console. Doesn't matter. The data's already out, slaved to a dead man's switch, the second we cracked their encryption. She smirked. Let them try to silence us now. The Ledger's Wrath shuddered as the first plasma rounds impacted the shields. On the view screen, 3 Vorak enforcer ships loomed, their jagged hulls bristling with weapons. A comm channel crackled open. Human vessel, growled a voice like grinding bones. Surrender the stolen data immediately. Ryan crossed his arms. Or what? You'll bill us for the bullets. The Vorak snarled. You primitive worms couldn't comprehend our financial systems if... Lisa cut in. Actually, we just did. She tapped a key. Check your public feeds. A beat of silence. Then the Vorak ship's weapons powered down. On screen, the lead mercenary's bone-plated jaw worked soundlessly. His comm officer whispered urgently off. Kamara finally, the Vorak spat. This changes nothing. The Zenthari will already happening, Lisa said. She flicked a data stream to the main display. Across the galaxy, Zenthari stock indices were in freefall. Protest holograms erupted over their trading floors as alien merchants realized the depth of the fraud. The Vorak's eyes widened. You unleashed a bank run. Ryan clapped his hands once. Correction, we just foreclosed on your employers. Lisa leaned forward. Tell your bosses this. Humans invented double-entry bookkeeping. We wrote the book on audits, and you, she smiled. You're about to learn what real debt collection looks like. The comm channel cut abruptly as the Vorak ships spun away, fleeing toward the jump point. In the sudden quiet, Diaz exhaled. Holy hell, did we just crash an interstellar economy? Kurosawa grinned. Nah, we just gave it a correction. Lisa collapsed into her chair, rubbing her temples. Phase 1's done. Now comes the fun part, making them pay. Ryan keyed the ship, wide comm. All hands prepare for warp. We've got a galaxy to bankrupt. As the Ledger's Wrath's engines whined to life, Lisa stared at the scrolling data. Somewhere out there, 1,000 enslaved species were waking up to the truth. And humanity. Humanity was just getting started. the trading floors of Zenthari Prime erupted into chaos. Neon holograms flickered wildly as stock values plummeted from vibrant emerald to sickly crimson merchant. Lords with jeweled proboscises flailed their appendages, their credit implants flashing emergency alerts. Across the galaxy, the same scene repeated on 1,000 worlds as the human counterattack hit like an economic supernova. Lisa Hayes watched the carnage from the bridge of the USN Ledger's Wrath, her fingers dancing across a holographic keypad. "Initiate protocol black ink," she said. A junior analyst, Ensign Park, swallowed hard. "Ma'am, are we sure? Do it." The command rippled through human networks, deep within the Zenthari financial mainframes. Dormant algorithms awakened. Lines of code written by human hackers months ago slithered into action, transferring trillions of credits into escrow accounts. At the same time, every major news outlet in the galaxy received a data packet. Uncensored records of Zenthari embezzlement, slave trade profits, and rigged interest rates. On the trading floor below, a Zephyrian merchant prince reared up, his feather crest flaring scarlet with outrage. "They've been stealing from us all." His voice boomed across the chamber, amplified by his vocal implant. "Look at transaction log, Faye. My people paid triple tariffs for decades." A Vorak enforcer lunged for the Zephyrian, bone-plated jaws snapping. Before he could strike, 3 other merchants, a hulking Brintar and 2 sleek felonids, tackled him. The enforcer's credit chip implant sparked as they ripped it from his forearm. Lisa's comb crackled. "Hayes, we've got incoming." Captain Blake's voice was tight. "Zenthari defense fleets mobilizing." She didn't look up from her screens. They're too late. And they were. The bank run had already begun. On 100 worlds, depositors stormed financial nexuses, demanding withdrawals. Zenthari credit chips, once the galaxy's most stable currency, flashed error messages. Denied, frozen, worthless. A holographic newsfeed flickered to life above Lisa's console. The Zenthari High Chancellor, his credit silk robes disheveled, stammered before a crowd of reporters. This is a temporary liquidity adjustment." The feed cut to a Zephyrian newscaster, her crest vibrating with barely suppressed glee. "The Galactic Trade Guild has just announced it will no longer accept Zenthari credits. In related news, human soul credits have spiked Faye in value." Ensign Park let out a disbelieving laugh. "Did we just crash their entire economy?" Lisa smirked. "Yeah, and we're not done." She tapped her earpiece. "Blake, you're up." Aboard the USN Ironclad Receipt, Captain Ryan Blake straightened his uniform. The bridge crew watched as Zenthari dreadnoughts scrambled to defend their homeworld, only to be met by mutiny. On every screen, crews rebelled, tearing the credit chip implants from their own officers' arms. "Open a galaxy wide channel," Blake ordered. The comm officer hesitated. "Sir, every species will hear this." "Good." When Blake spoke, his voice carried across the stars. "Attention Zenthari leadership, per Article Faye of the Galactic Fair Trade Accords, which you wrote, failure to honor debts permits creditors to seize assets." He let the words hang. "Pay what you owe, or well, take it." Silence. Then, across Zenthari Prime, the lights went out. The planetary power grid, its maintenance fees unpaid for centuries, shut down. Lisa watched the planet's gleaming spires go dark, one by one somewhere in the chaos. A Zephyrian merchant. Prince chuckled. "Humans, they invented compound interest." The warp signature tore through the Zenthari defense grid like a bullet through wet paper. Alarms shrieked across their orbital platforms as the USN Ironclad Receipt emerged from FTL, its armored prow glinting under the artificial suns of Zenthari Prime. Behind it, a dozen Zephyrian frigates fanned out, their hulls plastered with glowing itemized bills in 100 languages. Captain Ryan Blake leaned forward in his command chair, his fingers steepled. The bridge crew worked in silent efficiency, their screens reflecting the chaos unfolding planetside. The Zenthari financial feeds were hemorrhaging data, stock holograms collapsing, debt projections shattering like glass. "Open a channel," Ryan said, "galaxy-wide." The comm officer nodded. "Live in 3-2. Ryan's face appeared on every screen from the trading floors to the slums. "People of the Galactic Federation," he began, his voice calm but edged with steel. "The Zenthari Collective has spent centuries calling us debtors. Today, we present our invoice." On the main viewer, the itemized list scrolled terabytes of data compressed into brutal simplicity. War reparations, Fey-burned Earth cities, stolen colonial resources, Fey-star systems, interest, compounded at Fey for every year of lies. A Zenthari dreadnought lurched into position, its plasma cannons cycling up. Ryan didn't flinch. "Try it," he murmured. "I dare you." The dreadnought's weapons locked on, then flickered. A secondary screen lit up with internal feeds. Vorak mercenaries in the ship's corridors, their bone-plated jaws snapping as they wrestled Zenthari officers. One mercenary roared into a security cam. "No pay, no loyalty." Lisa Hayes' voice crackled over the comm from the ledger's wrath. "Bank runs complete. Their reserves are dust. Also, a new data packet hit the network. Enjoy their black budget files." The Zephyrian flagship chimed in, its captain's feather crest bristling on screen. The Trade Guild recognizes humanity's counterclaim. Per Article Fey of the Galactic Commerce Accords, we are seizing Zenthari assets as collateral. Ryan watched the dreadnought's engines sputter and die. Mutiny spread like wildfire, entire squadrons of Zenthari mercenaries turning their guns on their former employers. One ship even saluted the ironclad receipt before joining formation beside it. "Captain," Tactical Officer Chen grinned. "Their defense grid just surrendered. They're literally handing over access codes." Ryan allowed himself a smile. "Send in the repo teams." A swarm of human and Zephyrian shuttles descended toward Zenthari Prime, their holds empty, ready to be filled. The planet's glittering towers, once monuments to infinite greed, now stood silent, their owners trapped inside by the very debt enforcement drones they'd built. On the surface, a Zenthari High Auditor screamed into a comm as humans in powered exoskeletons peeled open his vault. "This is theft." The lead repo specialist, a grizzled sergeant with ears stenciled on his armor, chuckled. "Nope, this is a liquidation event." He tossed the auditor a datapad. "Sign here, acknowledging seizure of assets per Galactic Code, Fei-Fei." The auditor's tentacles trembled. "You can't, already did." The sergeant jerked a thumb at the sky. "Your bosses just got foreclosed on." A Zephyrian news drone zoomed in as the first human flag was planted atop the central banking spire across the galaxy. 100 exploited species watched, and for the first time in history, laughed at their former oppressors. Ryan leaned back, watching the feeds. "Chen, send a memo to Earth. Tell them the check just cleared." The Zenthari High Chancellor's third eye twitched as the courtroom's gravity field hummed to life, forcing him into the defendant's dock. His credit silk robes, once worth a planet's GDP, hung dull and grey under the sterile lights of the Galactic Commonality's Justice Chamber. The circular arena pulsed with the murmurs of 100 species, their holocauders floating like hungry insects. Lisa Hayes adjusted her glasses, the only human in a sea of alien delegates. The Zephyrian Trade Guild's feather, crests bristled behind her, their talons clicking against data slates. She tapped her wrist, terminal, and the central hologram flared to life, a ledger stretching into infinity, every line item glowing with Zenthari crimes. "Exhibit R," Lisa said, her voice cutting through the murmurs. "The unauthorized extraction of deuterium from Crixus Prime's oceans. Market value, 9 trillion credits." The Chancellor's mandibles clacked, preposterous. Those primitives lacked warp capability, resources were abandoned. A Cerulean Juror's orb, eyes darkened. "By your definition." Lisa swiped again. Exhibit B. The processing fees levied on the Yilth hive, collected in living larvae. The hologram zoomed in on shipping manifests, each tagged with Zenthari corporate seals. A collective hiss rippled through the mollusk compact's delegates. Captain Ryan Blake leaned against the prosecutor's rail, his USN dress uniform spotless. Funny thing about interest, he said. It compounds. The Chancellor's tail lashed. You think this theater changes anything? The collective's fleet still outnumber yours 10-1. The hologram flickered. A live feed from Zenthari Prime's orbital docks replaced the ledger. Merchant ships fleeing, their holds stuffed with stolen art. Ryan smirked. Your fleets. They're busy repoing your yachts. A commotion erupted at the chamber's rear. A Vorak mercenary, his bone-plated jaw cracked, shoved through the crowd. You promised us pay, he roared at the Chancellor. My brood starves while you hoard. Lisa didn't blink. Exhibit C. Your own mercenary contracts. The hologram split Vorak enlistment forms on one side, Zenthari offshore accounts on the other. You paid them in debentures. The mollusk compact's ambassador rose, her bioluminescent frills pulsing crimson. The commonality votes to seize all Zenthari assets. Immediate liquidation. The Chancellor's third eye rolled wildly. You can't, our allies will veto. Silence. The Zeperian delegation's leader, Elder Kess, folded his feather cloak. Our abstention is noted. Ryan tossed a data chip onto the Chancellor's dock. It projected Earth's burned cities, the glassed colonies, humanity's counterclaim. Payable now. The Chancellor lunged, only for gravity fields to slam him down. This isn't over. Lisa leaned in, her glasses reflecting the hologram's glow. You're right. Chapter Faye just started. The gavel fell. Outside, the neon sky of Zenthari Prime flickered as orbital cranes began dismantling the financial nexus spires. Ryan watched a Zeperian freighter haul away a diamond-encrusted vault. Think they'll learn? Lisa scrolled her terminal. Doubt it, but we invented bankruptcy courts for a reason. A Vorak mercenary shuffled up, his armor stripped. Credits, he grunted. Ryan tossed him a mop. Minimum wage. Welcome to debt rehabilitation. The mercenary stared at the mop. Then, slowly he started scrubbing. The orbital docks above Zenthari Prime buzzed with activity, but not the kind its former rulers had ever imagined. Human salvage crews in reinforced exosuits swarmed over the once gleaming mega-yachts of the financial elite, their plasma cutters carving through gold-plated hulls like butter. Careful with that one, called Chief Engineer Kowalski over the comms. That is a Mark 7 quantum drive. EarthGov wants it intact for reverse engineering. Below them, the planet's surface burned with riots as former slave species tore down the neon debt. Screens that had loomed over their cities for generations. Lisa Hayes floated in the observation deck of the USN Ledger's Wrath, watching the chaos through the reinforced glass. A Zeperian frigate drifted past, its feather-crested crew cheering as they unloaded crates of confiscated Zenthari luxury goods. Never thought I'd see the day, murmured Captain Ryan Blake beside her. Turns out their whole empire ran on credit. Literally. A chime sounded as the comms officer patched through a transmission. Ma'am, we've got a situation in Docking Bay Fee. One of the Vorak mercenaries just surrendered. Lisa raised an eyebrow. Which one? The big one with the scarred jawplate. Says he wants to negotiate employment terms. Ryan snorted. Tell him we're fresh out of pillaging contracts. Lisa tapped her datapad. No, bring him up. I've got an idea. The Vorak mercenary, Gorvath, according to his hastily scanned ident chip, shuffled into the observation deck with his massive arms bound in econo cuffs. His bone-plated jaw twitched as he took in the human officers. You win, he growled. Now what? Lisa leaned forward. You used to break kneecaps for the Zenthari when their debtors couldn't pay, right? Gorvath's beady eyes narrowed. So now you work for us. She tossed him a mop. The alien stared at it, his claws flexing in confusion. First shift starts in 10. You'll be cleaning the ironclad receipts plasma conduits. The Vorak's jaw dropped. Cleaning. Ryan crossed his arms. Call it debt rehabilitation. Down on the surface, the riots had turned to celebrations. A group of newly freed Thalaxians, their chitinous shells still bearing the scars of Zenthari brandings, cheered as a human engineering team rigged their former debt collar factory to produce water purifiers instead. You sure about this? Asked the lead engineer, a grizzled veteran named Harris. This tech could be worth billions back home. The eldest Thalaxian clicked her mandibles. You gave us the ledgers. The truth, this, she gestured at the factory, is nothing compared to that. Harris grinned. Then, let's get to work. Aboard the Zephyrian Dawn, Ambassador Krivash watched the feeds from a dozen liberated worlds. His feather crest flared in satisfaction as human and Zephyrian ships worked side by side to distribute food and medical supplies. Remarkable, he murmured to his aide. They didn't just break the Zenthari, they replaced them. The aide chirped, with fairness. Krivash tapped a claw on the console. Prepare the draft for the new trade accord, and ensure the human signatures are in larger font. Back in orbit, Lisa scrolled through the latest reports. Earth stock markets had gone parabolic as Zenthari assets flooded the auctions. Look at this, she said, turning her screen toward Ryan. Turns out liquidating an empire is very profitable. Ryan smirked. Think we should send the Chancellor a thank you note? Lisa laughed. Nah, let the bankruptcy filings do the talking. Outside, the last of the Zenthari mega yachts cracked apart under the salvage torches, its pieces floating toward the waiting cargo holds of human freighters. Somewhere in the wreckage, a single golden credit chip spun lazily in zero. Gee, it's holographic debt. Counter finally, blissfully reading zero. The grand hall of the former Galactic financial nexus hummed with new energy. The crystalline spires that once projected debt ledgers now displayed real-time trade flows. Earth's blue and white banner hung beside the Zephyrian crest, their feather sigil catching the light. Lisa Hayes ran a hand along the newly engraved plaque at the entrance. The Free Market Forum. A Zephyrian delegate clacked his beak in approval. Your blockchain ledgers are unsettlingly transparent. His feather crest twitched. No room for creative accounting. Lisa smirked. That's the point. She tapped her tablet, pulling up the first intergalactic public ledger. Every credit, every resource transfer, visible to all. No more hidden fees. No more historical debts pulled out of thin air. Across the hall, Captain Ryan Blake leaned against a pillar, watching a group of former Zenthari executives shuffle past in plain grey tunics. One glared at him. Ryan saluted with 2 fingers. Enjoying your new jobs as custodians? The lead executive hissed. This is humiliation. Nah, Ryan said. Humiliation was when your mercenaries switched sides mid-battle. This is just accountability. Near the central dacis, a cluster of newly freed species murmured over datapads. A diminutive Yillith trader approached Lisa, her 4 eyes wide. Your people, you really give these loans without collateral? Lisa nodded. Microfinancing. We'll front you the startup costs for your first trade fleet. You pay us back if you profit. The Yillith's frills trembled. But what if we fail? Then we try again. Lisa crouched to her level. Earth's history is full of second chances. Hell, third and fourth ones too. A commotion erupted near the entrance. A Vorak mercenary, the same one who'd raided Lisa's outpost, shoved through the crowd, his bone-plated jaw grinding. You, he pointed at Ryan. I demand. Ryan raised an eyebrow. A job reference? Because mopping floors doesn't count as military experience. The Vorak snarled. then deflated. I was misled. The Zenthari promised us plunder. Instead, they liquidated our contracts. Lisa tossed him a data chip. Here's a list of honest security gigs. Pays better than shaking down farmers for oxygen taxes. Outside, the docking bays buzzed with activity. Human and Zenthari engineers worked side by side, retrofitting confiscated Zenthari mega yachts into trade vessels. A young Zenthari tech chirped at her human counterpart. Your salvage crews move fast. The human wiped grease off his face. Turns out, nothing motivates like spite. He jerked a thumb at the nearest yacht, where former Zenthari nobles watched glumly as their gold-plated engines were dismantled, especially their spite. Back in the hall, the first official signing ceremony began. The Zenthari high merchant dipped his quill into ink made from crushed supernova minerals. By ratifying this fair trade accord, we acknowledge humanity as equal partners in galactic commerce. Lisa signed next, her pen flashing with Earth's official seal. No more debt traps, no more hidden fees, just fair math. As the delegates cheered, Ryan sidled up to her. Think it'll last. Lisa watched a group of Yillith children playing with a holographic abacus, their laughter echoing off the vaulted ceiling. Not forever. But we'll audit the hell out of anyone who tries cheating again. The Zenthari high merchant approached, offering a ceremonial goblet of star wine. To your people's most fearsome weapon. Ryan clinked his glass. Railguns, spreadsheets. Lisa drained her drink, grinning at the starfield beyond the viewport. Turns out, the best weapon was math.